Hey, welcome to the show. We're all about talking with people who didn't let their ideas stay ideas. They took a risk and made them a reality despite feeling not quite ready, and that includes us. So we're asking for a favor. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends if you enjoy what we're doing and want to see us keep making more episodes. It all helps. Even better, leave a comment suggesting how we can improve. We want to keep making quality episodes that you enjoy listening to. So thanks for the support. Let's get into it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we can kind of get into it. So I know I said in the email we kind of start with some rapid fire questions, kind of get the conversation moving. So
Right.
we can start with that. So I guess the first question I have is, do you listen to music when you create?
Yeah, like my playlist is really wild. I do listen to music.
Okay, so yeah, so
Wild.
what are you listening to?
All right, so when I'm grinding, like when I'm like really like need to focus, it's usually just like quiet piano music, like classical piano music, like whatever's like on Spotify. Um, that's like when I just want like like nothing to like disturb me at all, and I could just like
Yeah.
really be in the zone. Like piano music is like the way to go. Like just anything quiet. Um, I put on like my noise canceling headset and just like mute out the whole world. I'm like, no, I don't want anybody talking to me. I just like
Yeah, yeah.
zone in. Yeah. But sometimes I get like really I want more creative stuff and like more vibey stuff like to like juice it up a little bit. I listen to this Korean band called Hyuko a lot.
Okay.
Um, it's spelled Hyukoh. They're like this indie band based out in South Korea. They're like so good. Hyuko and Sunset Roller Coaster, those two bands I listen to the most. Sunset Roller Coaster is a band from Taiwan. Um, and then I listened to some Radiohead. I'm a big
Okay.
Radiohead fan, and
Everything in its right place kind of vibe.
I'm really love Radiohead.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, nice.
and there's also this other artist called James Blake that I've been listening
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
I like
nice.
a lot. Yeah, so these are the artists I've been like that's been on my playlist.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. Okay, that's a good answer. What is a book that has influenced you the most?
Yeah, so this I'm not a huge reader, but
Yeah,
there's this
that's fair.
one book called The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. So fucking good. It's like everything in that book is just really, really like on point for like creatives and like any people who's everybody's a creative. Like humans are creative people. Like I feel like everybody should be reading it, even if you're not like in the creative industry or like in the art field, but like it's just like a really good book. Like his insights really influenced me in a big way. He also has if you're not like a huge reader like I am, like you can't really flip pages. You also have an
Yeah.
audiobook on Spotify that you could just listen to. It's like very meditative, um, and Zen kind of vibe. Yeah, like that
Yeah.
book is a nice one.
No, that's good. I have heard of it. I haven't read it yet, so maybe
Yeah.
that'll be the motivation. What is one of your favorite movies?
Um, that's a tough one.
You can just say you can say a few as well, because I know it is tough to just lock in on one.
So I grew up watching a lot of like Studio Ghibli movies.
Okay.
My mom got me really into it.
Wait,
Like
so sorry, what is that? Would you say
Studio
studio?
Ghibli, like
Oh,
Spirited Away.
Did you see you know the art style, Steven, with like the chat GPT everyone was doing
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
few months
yeah.
ago? So it's like inspired by that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so Spirited Away is a huge, like, big, like, I'm a huge fan of that movie. Um, what else? Akira, another an anime movie, like, in the 90s, I think. That was like that was a huge, yeah, it was a huge influence on me. Those are like more animated movies, but like in terms of like more live action one, Life of Pi.
Oh yeah, that's a great choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Leanne, that's the director, Ang Lee, I think, in English. he also did a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
So really, really like beautiful. Um, what else? Oh, some like Wong Kar-wai movies. I also like a huge fan of, like Chungking Express. Um, yeah. And then I'm also like really, I also really like love like space movies, like uh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we actually did we knew that, so we made our background today. We're just like, okay, let's give them something.
dude, I need to get on this. Like, where's my back? Can I change it
I already
again?
knew the answer to this question.
Yeah, yeah. You need to look like astronauts floating in
Yeah,
space.
yeah, yeah. So you like Interstellar? What's the one with Matt Damon where he's trapped on the Mars for a while? Have you seen The Astronaut? No,
Oh
shoot, I
no,
missed.
I know which one you're talking about. I forgot the name.
It's very good though. Shoot, now somebody went. But yes, I'm a big Interstellar guy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That movie is mind blowing. Like the soundtrack on it is also like one of the best.
yeah. That is good working music soundtrack as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so those are some good suggestions.
It's called The Martian.
The
Martian, that's what.
Martian,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. That's a
Um,
great movie.
yeah, yeah. Space movies, the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. Who is your favorite artist across any medium? It could be songwriter, it could be graphic designer, it could be painter, or a few that come to mind if it makes it easier.
Mm, in a visual sense, like
Yeah,
visual
either.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a tough one.
Yeah, yeah. We can circle back to if it's
Yeah, let's circle back on that one.
okay, okay, perfect. So that was kind of the rapid fire questions we had. So now we kind of like to go in and get a better sense for like your background. So I guess the first thing to ask would be where did you grow up, and did you have any like entrepreneurs or creators in your family to inspire you?
Yeah, so I was born in Taiwan, in Taipei. But I grew up in Shanghai. I grew up in Yeah, so I think I moved to Shanghai when I was like 1 years old, like literally a baby. Um, so I grew up there, like through kindergarten, primary school, middle school. I lived in Hong Kong for a little bit for 4 years, and then I moved back to Shanghai to finish high school. I'll visit Taipei, like Taiwan, throughout the summers, but I never really lived there or like studied there. It's just like my relatives and my families are in Taiwan, but my dad is like a businessman. Like he travels throughout Asia, and me and my mom just like could uh basically follow him wherever he goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and in terms of second question, yeah, my mom was a oil painter.
Okay.
So I think I definitely got my artistic side from her. Um, she was like, I would be in her studio like as a kid, like I'll be painting like whatever on the canvas, and she'll be like by my side, doing
Oh
her
yeah.
own stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but my mom is like she doesn't do she paints recreationally, but she's like a full-time like house not
Yeah.
full-time mom. But before she had me, she was working in advertisement and
Okay.
so yeah,
So your mom was kind of like more on the creative side then, it sounds
my
like.
mom was more on the creative side for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you went to the School of Visual Arts in New York. So what kind of, I guess, prompted, like, how come you wanted to go to New York City for school?
Right. It's it's a crazy story. So while I was like in high school in Shanghai, I was like deciding like which universities to go to, or like even like which major to like pick, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I feel like that's like like how could you ask a high school kid being like, yo, what do you want to do for your career for the rest of your life? Like nobody will know.
yeah,
But I was pretty lucky that I was just like I was I basically showed up to school to like draw on textbooks. And and art classes was like the class I would like look forward to, and English class, but art class for sure. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna pursue my passion, and like you go to an art school. And why did I choose graphic design why did I choose New York? Um, I think I chose graphic design first before I chose the location. I chose graphic design because A, like coming from a very Asian family, like an Asian household, it's like, oh, you want to be a fine artist? All right, you're gonna be a starving fine artist when you grow up. My parents would not approve. So my trick was like, all right, I'm gonna just like get into art school first, and then see what happens. So I chose like graphic design so I could persuade my parents, being like, oh, it's commercial art, like I won't be broke when I graduate. So that was like my little my little
Yeah.
with them. But I ended up liking graphic design when I went to this place.
So to get into graphic design, you need a portfolio, right? So
Right.
how did were you just kind of on your free time as a hobby were learning to become an artist, or like how did you create your portfolio?
Yeah, so in high school I took the IB, so it's the British curriculum, and I took like art class as a high level, and in that for the requirement of that is that you have to make a portfolio there. So I already had like a portfolio, like I was like trying to grind on in high school. It was a lot of like, it wasn't just like graphic design stuff. It was a lot of like photography. It was a lot of like painting. Obviously like just like sketchbook stuff. I was drawing like logos for like skateboards, like random skateboard brands in Shanghai. Yeah, it was just I built my portfolio because I think this high school really helped me because with the IB curriculum. So I had that portfolio that was like ready to show to apply for universities. And I applied to a few. I applied to like some in London, and a few in the States. And I decided to 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 apply for SVA and to come to New York was because I was a huge Casey Neistat fan. You know, I was watching.
That's so random.
It's so random. I was like watching all his YouTube and his blogs and stuff. And it's just like, damn, New York is so fire. Like the way he like perceive
So,
it.
so have you met him, or
I'm not.
was you were just like inspired by because he lives in New York?
Yeah, and he was just like this, also like very like entrepreneur, like very has his own business, has his own studio in New York, and I'm like, I want to be like him when I go. Also, I was like very interested in cameras and like film, and yeah, it's just like down. I just want to give New York a try, and I also really want to come to the States because now I grew up on hip hop music, NBA basketball, like that was like Hollywood movie, like dude.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to come to the States. So, and New York was a good place, like also for like graphic design, like all the best graphic designers, like advertisement is like in New York. So I think I made a good choice to come here.
Yeah. So you're a big NBA guy. So have you like adopted the Knicks since you came to New York?
Yeah, so I've been a huge Knicks fan after ever since I came to New York. I'm really
So
sad that they lost this year.
yeah, it would have been a fun spring for you.
Yeah, dude, I really want to see the city go crazy, but
Yeah.
but hey, they tried their best, and we'll come back next year. But yeah, I'm a huge basketball fan. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I thought they were gonna win because like my
I
theory
thought
was that Timothy Chalamet has just been on such a hot streak in life, and I was like, this is gonna be another
It's going to rub
win.
off.
I was like, no one's had an all-time heater like Timothy Chalamet's had over the last few years. So I was like,
He was like,
this is gonna.
yeah,
This
he
is
was
gonna.
like, fuck the Met Gala. I'm just gonna go like watch
I mean, he's dating a billionaire. He's got like
Yeah.
everything. I was like, this is gonna happen. But yeah, so I was kind of surprised when they lost. But
And
Yeah, I
Toronto
think
had a good run in like 2018, was it? 2018, 20, I forgot when.
Toronto won in 2019.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they had theirs. So I'm not from Toronto. I'm from Edmonton, which is like a different place in Canada. But our
Mhm.
hockey team's in the finals right now, so that's like our equivalent of the Knicks
Right.
in the. So it's very tense.
Right.
But yeah, so I understand the stress that comes with it. I guess as you're talking about it, like, so it sounds like you had like almost pressure to not pursue the art thing. Like, what gave you the conviction, especially when you're just like a high school kid, to be like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm gonna almost like deceive my parents a little bit and like get into art school first. Like, how come you felt so much conviction that like this was the path for you?
Um, I think it was like I ran out of options. It was just like I don't like anything else other. Like, I don't like math. I don't like science that much. I don't like I don't know, like uh business. I don't like any of that. Like I don't like economy. I just the only thing that I was like really invested to was like music. It was like comic books. It was like anime. It was like movies. It was like music. Like that's like who I am, and I just kind of like stuck with it because I only have one lifetime to like live my true self, so I have to like stick with it. I just like follow my intuition basically.
Yeah.
Like even though like all my friends were like, "You're gonna go to art school," like I don't know how's that gonna work out for you, like because most of my buddies in high school they went to like business schools and like um I was just kind of this other dude
Yeah.
who yeah, this kind of like weirdo in school. But I just like hey, I just was like not afraid, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I mean, I think honestly, like, and again, you asked why we started the podcast. This is probably some of it too, is like, I don't know, the amount of people who have this cool idea and want to do something, then probably get talked out of it by like
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's awesome that you stuck with it. So you went to SVA, you studied graphic design, and then afterwards, it looked like you went straight into freelance work
Mhm.
when you finished. So, like, I imagine when you're coming from like a reputable school, like there's probably opportunities for you to go work in house at like a big ad agency or something like that. So, what was kind of the inspiration behind doing the freelance route?
Honestly, it was not planned out at all. I graduated during COVID 2020.
Yeah,
So that was a year where it was a lot of confusion. It was just like where do I go from here? Like
yeah,
there was like this huge like global thing, and it was just like, all right, I'm probably not gonna like go in the office anytime soon, right? So I have to find a way to make a living anyways. And I just started working from home. And I got hired um straight out of school by a few professors at SVA. And I think what's so beautiful about like in art school is the community. I don't necessarily think that you have to that you have to go to the art school to become an artist. No, I don't think so. There's a lot of great artists that did not go to art school. I just think that art school has like a great community there where you meet other artists and graphic designers, illustrators, you name it. Like it's a network in there, and I think that's what's so useful about an art school. And for me, it was like I got really lucky where I got hired into because some of the professors that teach there have their own studio, um, and they would, yeah. So I worked for my professors um, out of like after school, and it was also like a good like intro into like the professional industry, and it was also like it also makes sense because at the time I wasn't like really in a rush to look for a job or anything. I was just wanted to like I guess like kind of still grinding my portfolio and my voice. Um, and it was just also a good fit because I could like still work from home and I know who I'm working for. So it was like it was a good balance there.
So what type of work were you doing?
I was in CG animation, like 3D animation. Mostly in the music videos and the motion design industry. Um, and like illustrations because I was working for a few professors and they all have like their own, they're all really established already and they have their own kind of field or like industry. Like one professor was like working mostly in like music industry. One professor was working mostly in like editorial, like New York Times stuff. Another one could be like very experimental, like branding stuff. So yeah.
Okay, so I guess like as you went through the freelance, I guess like life working for this company, like how much of it was on you to like find clients, or was it something that like you could kind of just like work and your professor's business was kind of bringing it in, then you would do the work that was assigned? Like, I guess what was that process like?
Right. So let me just like strip back
Sure.
um when I first graduated, it was just like I didn't also know what I want to do, like which field that I want to be a part of, or like or even like what medium I'm trying to do. So my goal when I graduated was to like just try a bunch of stuff.
Sure.
Um like trial and error. I think I was like I just want to experiment with a whole bunch of industries. And the fastest way to do that was to like work for um some of my professor's studios. And I did not go out there like grabbing like taking in work. I was basically working for somebody else. Um but I yeah, so I was really like just honing on my craft at the time. It was not I wasn't thinking about like how much money I was making or like what um or like how to talk with clients or all that like business side of like client facing side of stuff. To me, I'm like still like working on my craft. Like in the basis of it all, like no matter how good you are like with the business side of stuff or like whatever, like you still have to make good work. Making good work is the most important thing. So and I knew and I just in my at that time I was just like I have to like hone in on my craft and like get better at like making beautiful images and like um developing a good design sense, having a good eye to like spot like errors or like things that could be adjusted, having a more creative mind and working faster and faster and faster and just getting the rep in. It's like kind of like going to a gym, like just like working out, you know. So you gotta get, you know, you have to have that kind of like kind of that build as a designer or artist first, and then we can think about how do I go out there and get clients and get cool work and all that. But first of all, you have to ensure you can make the work and deliver the work. You know?
Yeah, I like the gym analogy of just getting the reps in. Were there any like how would you develop your taste? Did you have techniques or things that you would do say every day? Maybe you have a routine where you're doing specific exercises, or was it just kind of like I'm getting a project, I'm just going to figure it out and grind at it? Like how did you go about developing
Yeah.
that?
So it was I was like, oh, the good thing about being in New York is you could like go to a lot of galleries and museums. Like also like there's a well, you go out, you look at a poster, you look at billboard, you go into a store, a fashion store, you see there, you know, everything is very like there's a lot of sense and taste in this city that you could like go out there and look for and find like just the nature of being in New York, I feel like has like a good influence on like what what's beautiful, what's not, what's okay. And also there's a lot of culture here, right? So there's so many like people coming from different backgrounds and different cultures that you could be like, oh, it's like, I see that mix and match here. It's like it's a very, it's a very artistic city, and I think that definitely like made me, also like seeing like my peers work. Um, also this has a great influence on me. um Going to bookstores, there's like tons of like great bookstores here. Like the New York Public Library has like this image archive that you could just go in and like look at. There's so much resource out here that you could really, develop your own taste, on like what you like, what you don't like. So I think it's just like looking at a lot of stuff and like taking it all in and have your brain like curate it for you. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And was that advice that someone gave you, that the mindset of like, I need to be able to put out good work before I like get
Yeah.
clients and stuff, or was that something that you just like internalized and always felt that
No,
way?
no, that was something my senior year professor taught me. Um, you wanna, you have to be able to deliver first, and that is like the number one thing, the number one most important thing. Um, their names are Andrew Herzog and Saad Musaji. Um, great, great, like super great professors. I'm so thankful to have them. Yeah, they taught me that.
Yeah, and when you're going through that process, like again, you use the analogy of doing reps, like it's almost easy when you're kind of by yourself to, I don't know, like, I don't know if take it easy is the right way, but like it's hard to sort of improve when it's just only from your viewpoint. Like you have no one else, like you're not a coach or anything. That's sort of like when you're in school, you have professors that are grading you, giving you feedback. Is that something like you found difficult of being like, okay, I need to improve on my own, but like I have no one here to like look at my work, and it's kind of just like on me to figure out how to improve and push myself?
For sure, yeah. It's definitely, you have to definitely be very self-aware of like the stuff you make. I guess like I feel like the more you make, the naturally it'll just come to you. Like I think like just forget about quality first. Let's just get quantity out there. Once you made a lot of stuff, then you could start being like, oh, this one really stands out. Oh, this one really stands out. And these don't really stand out. Like just make a lot of stuff. And I definitely did that. I made a lot of stuff, like just, and most of the stuff that you see on my website is curated through me. Like I thought it was pretty cool, so I put it up there. But there's also a bunch of stuff that I did not like and did not want the world to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned that like you're focused on 3D animations. I guess what was like the path to land on that specific like
Mhm.
niche of graphic design?
Yeah, so it was really interesting. In in my junior year, I had this really interesting class. Like it was a communication design class, and my professor in junior year, was Santiago. Um, he has a studio called Art Camp. You guys should look it up. I work with him a bunch, and he came into the classroom with a bag of carrots, with like a load of carrots on his shoulders, and he just dropped it on the center of the floor. And it was like 20 carrots. And then he was like, all right, everybody like go pick up a carrot. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? And we picked up a carrot, and then he was like, all right, now you have to make 100-page book of this carrot. But you can only use like 2 or 3 mediums. And those 2 or 3 mediums you have to draw from a bag, from like a bag. And there was like charcoal, there was like watercolor, there was like pencil, and in the mix of it there was like 3D, like at that time it was like very new and like nobody was really messing with it. And I was like picking it out from a bag and I got 3D and pencil or watercolor or something like that. But I was just like, hey Santi, like I don't know how to do 3D. I mean, we're graphic designers, like we do illustrators, After Effects, and like just mostly like more two-dimensional, like 2D stuff. And then he was just like, well, I'll go figure it out. So he was very like he pushed us a lot. And I was just on YouTube, just like learning 3D, like Cinema 4D. Just finding how to like make this 100-page book of a carrot in 3D.
So, so it all came down to Rad, just fate chose you.
Yeah, I guess like faith chose me, and I fell in love with that medium. It's just like I was just like, wow, this is so cool. It's so new, and it was like exciting. Like it's 3-dimensional now. What do you mean? Like I thought everything has to be flat. And I just like really fell in love with that medium, and we really wanted to get good at it. Also, I was really into like image making at the time, like the branding stuff and like the typography work. I was not very interested. I was just more like what I really wanted to just make great looking images, and I felt like 3D was like a great like getting into 3D was a very good first step for me there. But yeah, like you said, like I guess fate chose me.
Yeah, yeah, it was meant to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, that's
So
funny. So
how did you learn? So you said you just kind of, it sounds like it wasn't even an official part of the course. Like, did you take 3D
Yeah.
courses later? Like you changed your direction, but it sounds like maybe it was so new that there wasn't a lot of curriculum available.
No, I mean, like if you wanted to like do 3D and like CG work, you'll go to the computer arts major, which we have at SVA. It's just not, but it's just not in the, we don't have that course in graphic design. So at the beginning, I was like, it was a lot of self-teaching on YouTube. I mean, nowadays there's like way more tutorials on Cinema 4D now, like so much more. Back then it was more niche. Now there's just so much resource out there that you could like definitely learn by yourself. But yes, I later on I did take one semester of a C4D course at the computer arts department, which I was like, all right, cool. Now I know this like tool set of like 3D and C4D. How can I mix it with graphic design? So that was kind of my thing. And kind of like got me an edge, I guess. Because graphic designers weren't like using 3D that much. But for me, I got really lucky and was able to have both in my pocket. Like, you know, the more weapons you have, the better it is, right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
my other weapon there. Yeah.
So how did you go about, you kind of mentioned developing your craft, like, and you mentioned taste, like, do you feel like you have developed like kind of an aesthetic style that's unique to you? Because it sounds like you're probably one of the few people doing both in the graphic design like kind of area, with also exploring more into this like crossover into 3D. How do you think that like changed your like view on your craft and art versus say maybe a more traditional graphic designer? Do you think that has really given you a leg up, and how did you kind of develop your kind of unique style, I guess?
Yeah. So I feel like um I feel like I'm really like making images look graphic, like very like I feel like when I look at like a lot of like the computer arts department, like their work is like because what they're going for is like they're going to the Pixar, like that's like their like North Star. And I knew I wasn't like trying to go to Pixar or anything. For me it was just like, oh, how could I bring this new craft into like the design industry, right? So I was like, and 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 to me, I don't really have like an like a specific style. I would say it was more everything is very like project based. Like each project will be art directed in its in a certain way for that certain creative brief to convey an idea, right? So different. I wouldn't say I'll have like a very like singular style or aesthetic. I still have a more graphic designer's brain, I would say. Like I'll have mood boards and art directed like everything based off of what the client's needs are, or like what the project's needs are. And then obviously how I deliver it is like through 3D and like motion and animation. And so I'll just say it's just 3D is more of a it's like typography or like a book. It's just a medium, but my brain still functions like a graphic designer.
Got it. I'm very curious, when you work on a project, are you working with a creative director typically? Like, how much creative control do you have, or is it very much kind of again, you keep mentioning like the graphic designer, but like it's a little bit more of like a back and forth with the client, because the client has a vision and you're trying to execute on it. Like, what does that look like? Do you get a brief and then you just try to say put together mood boards, or what's your sort of process through a typical project?
Yeah, usually we have a brief of like what the client kind of envision, uh, whatever the world is, and we will be in service of that and try to help. Like how much creative freedom you have is like very. It's very you don't always have 100% creative freedom, I would say, for sure. If you want 100% creative freedom, you have then maybe like graphic design is not. It could be, but like I don't think like if you're getting paid to do something, I don't think so. Unless you're an artist, like a pure artist, which is like doing it for self-expression or then that's a totally different story. But like at least in what I've been doing is just like, okay, the client wants this. I'll give them an option, a few options of like what they want, but also I'll show them maybe in the last like couple slides of the presentation of like what I want. And I'll kind of like fight with them a little bit, like just be like, I know this is like your vision and it's like all great and stuff, but also, hey, this is my idea. Then sometimes they'll take it, sometimes they won't. And if they take it, perfect. Like I make money and I get to like make this my own thing. But if they don't, it's fine. It's a fair game. Um, so yeah, I hope that answers your questions.
Yeah. So after you graduated, you were working with some professors,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like now, are you completely like freelance, like independent?
Yeah, so after like working with my professors for like 3 years, I mean, we're still very tight and like we've maintained a great relationship till now. But like right now, I'm like trying to like do my own thing, and I've started like my own studio right now, but it's still in the works. One day I would love to have my own studio, but right now it's not yet. I've just been thinking of like what I want to achieve, I guess. For now, is I'm still working like mostly in houses in studios or like agencies, sometimes in house in a company.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm
So
freelance. I'm just jumping around. I'm a freelancer jumping around like wherever. If you need me, I'm here. I got you. Like,
so
call me up.
so when you made the decision then, I guess, to go like independent freelance, like I guess what was motivating you to like take that step as opposed to just like staying with your professor's company?
Yeah, well, I think definitely I want to like venture out and like meet more people and like build more connection and like also like just putting myself out there. Like if I was always in my professor's company or like working under my professor, I'll just always stay there. And I don't think that's not what I want. I don't think that's what my professors want either. They want me to like also like go out there and if I it's also good for them. It's like all right, like we worked together for like a year now. Like, all right, go out there and like work with somebody else, and then come back after a year or two, and I'll come back with like a bunch of new things that I've learned from somewhere else, and he comes back with something new that he's learned with working somebody else. Like it's very like it creates more I guess um
Like
more
cohesion,
mixed
kind of, yeah.
way, like what'd you say?
Cohesion. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like more like cohesion, like just more friction,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Okay, so the opposite of cohesion, friction. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
more
I
friction.
had the wrong word.
Like no, I think it creates more friction that way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you need like new ideas, and like you gotta like
Check.
walk around and like but yeah, for me it was just like I want to work at like other places too, and there's so many like agencies and studios out here in New York that I was just like, damn, I wanna see what the inside of their their
Yeah,
work looks like, and learn from like other people as well. Like I've ever since I've been freelancing for 5 years, I met like a bunch of art directors and creative directors that all work differently, and like because the creative world, like there's no one like book a rule set. It's just like there's no rule. There's no one right answer. Everybody works differently and thinks differently and has different taste, and they're all great. Like none of them are like bad or anything. It's just like everybody work differently, and it's so interesting for me to like see and like learn from how everyone works.
so I guess when you start going independent, how did you, like, I understand the motivation, but how did you like go about actually like meeting these other
Oh,
agencies and other
yeah,
creators? Like, what was that process like? Because I think a lot of people want to start something and go, but like it's a little daunting of like, okay, how am I going to get
yeah,
customers? How am I going to make money? How do
yeah.
I go about that? So, what worked for you?
A lot of cold turkey emails.
Yeah,
A lot of
like, oh, we
just
got you on the podcast. Like just the
yeah,
cold
just
emails.
like
Yeah,
cold turkey emails. Just you gotta send a lot of emails. Just find people on LinkedIn, man. Like see what their email is, or like just hit people up on Instagram. Um, and if you do good work, like say if you do good work at the studio, like people will talk about you. They'll be like, hey, Steven does really good work, like hire him. Like they will all
yeah.
talk about
I
it.
don't think that's ever been said. Steven does good work, but your analogy is, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say A is like a lot of like emailing out, like just being like, hey,
Yeah.
like I'm a freelancer, blah blah blah. This is my work. Like if you're interested, let's like work together. Or B, it's like a lot of like word of mouth, or like word of recommendation.
Yeah, and so when you send these cold emails, like, are you basically being like, "I'll work for free," or like,
No,
because
no,
no, no, no, no. So like, how
never
do you
work
get?
for free.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess like, what's your strategy? Then are you just like, listen, I'm a freelancer. Here's my portfolio. Check out my work if it's of interest. Like, I'm curious on like the specific tactic because I think I don't know. Like, it's pretty incredible, like you said, that you've met all these agencies. So you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah, I think yeah, it was just a lot of like cold turkey emails. And also like at that time I had a pretty solid portfolio, and I think they could see if their work is good or not. That's why, like, circling back to my first like beginning of the talk, was like you have to have good work first. Like you have to have a good portfolio, you have to have a good work, you have to be confident in that work, and then you can send an email, because people will see like, oh wow, he pays a lot of attention to his website, he pays a lot of attention to the quality of his work. And if you do good work, people will hire you. It's like it's just like that. It sounds complicated, but it's like really simple. You just have to have good work. And but then it's also like you could debate like, what is good work? It's like, but how do I know my work is good? Yeah, that definitely comes to my mind a lot too. And I will definitely, I share my portfolio on my website before I like make it live. I'll send it to my professors, be like, what do you think about it? You know, like share it to somebody you trust. I show it to somebody who's not in the field as well. Like show it to your mom. Like I show my work to my mom all the time, or like show it to my dad to be like, how do you like what's your reaction of this work? You know, they'll tell you like, because I feel like art can definitely be subjective and like very biased and whatever, but like I
Yeah.
feel like if you spend the amount of time in it, like the work will tell that it's if you're doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you deal with, because you do great work, but then you also have to present it in a coherent sort of pitch of
Mhm.
like, what is it that I do and how I can provide value before someone wants to work with you. Was that something that you've struggled with, or like, because as you're kind of blending these worlds together of like, what is it that I do, how can I provide value to the studio, or did they just intuitively understand because they were already in this mind space? Or do you find that you have to like sort of educate potential clients or potential people to work with about, here's my work, it's good, but here's also how I can help you make your business better or your project better?
Mm, I don't think I ever like faced that kind of problem. It was just like I knew what I was good at, and I knew what I wanted people to hire me for, which is like my image making, um, like my image making in 3D. And you know, it kind of shows in the portfolio. And when people like review it, like they'll be like, oh, I see, you know, I see how I could like producers will look at your portfolio, or like talent acquisition, like recruiters will look at your stuff and be like, oh, I see how I could use him in some of our projects. So it was, I don't think you have to, as at least from my end, like as a creator's end, I never had to like persuade somebody how to like use me or in a certain way. It's just like it's the portfolio is pretty self-explanatory, or like you have, you know, you have your samples of work, and also you have your introduction of how you perceive yourself. Like you have your like self what do you call it, personal statement, right? You have your artist statement, that kind of like shows what kind of work you want to do. And if your work backs it up, then you know recruiters, like producers, they'll know. And if you got rejected, then it just means maybe you're not like a good fit in their team, and that's okay too. But if you get accepted, it means like, oh, there's definitely something you could be, there's definitely value like in you that you could help the team. So I don't think that's something you have to like as a creator or freelancer, that you have to be too worried about. Just like be yourself, I would say. Like just try and be yourself and enjoy what you like doing.
I do think though you touch on an interesting point, because to you, I can tell as I ask this question, it seems like almost more intuitive, a more intuitive process. Whereas people who are outside the artistic community, I don't think it necessarily fits that way, because I come back to what you were saying before about building your taste, putting the reps in. And I think that in a way was you intuitively developing this pitch through your portfolio, which someone who's outside the artistic space isn't putting that same effort into building their taste or building that intuition about what the work they're doing. And I think maybe that's where my question just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting dichotomy between people in more of the artistic space versus
Mhm.
outside. I think like this is something people outside the space can really learn from those in the creative industry, is how you're developing your craft and putting those reps in and intentionally developing your taste actually pays dividends later when you are trying to, like, I guess they might call it product market fit. It's like an artist, I think, can intuit their product market fit because they have a point of view and they've been developing their work. But I'm curious if you'd agree with that at all, or if that's something that you think maybe I'm off base on.
No, I definitely agree with you. Like people outside of like the creative like or artistic world is like they don't, I guess they don't have like the same, like the brain like that we we work in. Yeah, it's a pretty tough one. Like how I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you guys are on the same page of like, again, you can't do like everything for everyone. So you have your portfolio, and then you work with people who your portfolio works with. So I think that's a really good insight. I know, like looking at your website, you've worked with some really big clients. I think most notably is Nike. So I'm just curious. I imagine that's probably a dream client for a lot of creators. How did that come about?
Um, it was not a direct client. That was through this agency that I was working with, called Arcam Santiago. Circling
Yeah,
back, it was like my junior year professor. He got that job, and he called me on to like help him make it. Um, so that I mean that question you might have to ask him, like how he
Well,
got
so
it.
I guess the second question, what was the process like, I guess, then, like working with Nike? Did you feel like some extra pressure knowing how, widely viewed this was going to be? Was it like, you said you're into basketball, you're into rap. Like I imagine Nike's, a huge part of both cultures. So I guess like what was that like for you actually working on the project?
I mean, it was definitely very exciting. I mean, like it was basketball and it was art, and it was just like, damn, I get to work on some dope shoe commercial. It was just like really fun for me. Um, yeah, it was just really exciting. The process was also very interesting. Like Nike is a great brand to work with. They put a lot of like attention and detail into their branding and like their visuals and what they put out there in the world. Um, and it's like a very huge honor to really be able to work on that kind of project. Also, you also know like how much exposure you get from it. So there's definitely like a little pressure on the line, but also like you should, I try to like make it as fun as possible. And also I'm pretty like at that point I was like really already like pretty confident in like what I can like what I can do or what I can provide to the team. So I wasn't stressing that much. It was just like it was really a pretty like a dream project to be able to like work on something I'm like very passionate about.
Is there
Yeah,
anything that Nike does different, like on that you notice between other clients? Like, is there any kind of takeaways people might find interesting from what's unique to Nike's creative process?
Yeah, no, they definitely like have a lot of there was a lot of care to attention to details for sure. So there was a lot of we have to do a lot of rounds of revisions and notes to like hit like certain like quality and level that I think they definitely do better than other companies or other brands. They're one of the best like they have one of the best in-house graphic design team out there. So I'm not surprised to be working with people that are like really like that cares a lot about the work, and yeah, it was a great experience.
yeah. No, that's interesting. So, I think, one question that comes to mind, and we've asked other guests this as well, is like, so you've chosen the freelance route, which I imagine is like, you've gotten a lot of big clients, there's a lot of big wins, but I imagine there's also probably, a little bit more volatility than if were just working at a big agency or something like that. So, was there ever a moment like as you were going through this that made you want to, I guess, just try and do go in-house to a big company, or have you always been committed to the freelance route? And you talked about opening your own studio. I guess I'm just curious if there's ever a moment where it made you want to kind of, I guess, take the safer route.
Dude, for sure, all the time, man. Yeah, I even struggle with that like last week. All the
Yeah,
time, all the time. Like especially if I think I struggled with that a lot when sometimes when work is not coming in.
yeah,
That's when you feel like shit. Should I just go in house somewhere and like be secure? But then something always like shows up in the inbox. Um, and then you just feel, oh, thank God. But yeah, I struggle. I definitely struggle with that, like even till this day. I guess I just haven't. Maybe I just haven't found like a great a place that I really want to like go in house. And also, I'm like pretty happy with how the freelance life has been treating me. There's definitely like pros and cons to like
For sure.
sides. But right now I'm chilling. Yeah.
So over the freelance journey you've had, what would you say was like the biggest win you've had, or like the moment you can look back on and be like that brought you the most excitement, or where you felt like you're on the right path?
I think I think it was when I did that cover for for Bloomberg. Um because that was like a huge win because A, it was like from a direct client, and B, it was just like I made that by myself without a team.
Yeah.
So even though it wasn't a like a you can look at it, you can look it up on my Instagram. It was like for the first for this guy, the what was this guy name? The Sam oh,
Sam Bakeman,
yeah, the guy who wrote
SPF, yeah,
yeah, he the epic fail guy.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I did that illustration, like that cover for Bloomberg, and that was like a pretty huge win for me because it was just like, hey, I was just like, I did this all by myself without like
Yeah.
any team, and yeah, it was like,
So this is the one, the In Ruins one, and you've got it's kind of like a Greek style statue head in the sand, right? Is this the one we're talking about?
yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Did you make the face look like him? Because it kind of like resembles it. Like I'm seeing his face there. Or am
yeah,
I imagining this?
no, that's his face.
Okay.
I'm all of that face. Yeah, I was working closely with the art director at Bloomberg. Jordy, she was amazing. It was amazing. I was like, I had a really good time working with her, and yeah, that was I think it was a pretty significant like win for me because in the past, like I've done like bigger, I guess, like work with bigger musicians or clients, but it was mostly like through like another, like I was like, it was through somebody else. Like I was just a part of the team, but that one was just like, oh wow, that was all me. And it
So
was
how did you get this job then?
yeah. So I was working with I was doing like a few New York Times pieces, with my professor Pablo Dalcon. He has a studio called Dalcon Co, and I was basically assisting him, um, and like doing a lot of like New York Times pieces. He would like come up with a sketch or an idea, and I'll basically execute it. Like obviously, so it was like doing a lot of those and getting a lot of reps in on those where I was like posting on Instagram, and I guess Jordy found me through there. I'm actually I've never asked her how she found me, but I would assume that's how she found me. Yeah, but yeah, I just got her email one day, and
Yeah.
I got pretty excited.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool. I actually have the same birthday as Sam Bankman-Fried, so that's
Oh,
two two upstanding characters. I guess on the flip side, what would be the same question, but like, what was the moment that sticks out where it was like a really tough moment with the freelancing, and you were like, I really want to work a safe job now? Or like, is there any moment that sticks out that was really tough for you?
yeah, there was a music video that I worked on last year. Um, and it didn't go like as we planned. We worked really hard on it for like 3 months. Um, barely made any money, but we was just like really passionate about it and like really tried our best and grinded on that music video. But it didn't ended up making it, and like the artist didn't really use it. Um, things like things like that happen all the time in the industries. Like things got killed. and when you, especially like things that you care a lot about as a creator, as an artist, gets killed, it's like very like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
um yeah, so you know, that was like a huge like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I can imagine. One question we also like to ask our guests. So, like, you've obviously gone this freelance route. You've had some success. Like, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about, taking a chance, whether that's starting a business, whether that's creating something, whether that's going freelance? Is there anything that like you would say to someone who is, thinking about doing that, but maybe had some trepidation before making the leap?
I would say you have to stay extremely disciplined, um, because you're basically, if you're freelancing, you're basically your own boss. Nobody's gonna tell you what to do. So you have to be very, like, you have to really know what you're doing, and like make sure you like, you can't just be at home and be chilling and playing Call of Duty all day. Like I feel like a lot of my friends would be like, "Oh, you're a freelancer, you must be doing that a lot." But no, I feel like as a freelancer, you have to be extremely disciplined, because there's no like manager or like who's gonna be like, "Hey, you show up to work, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta reply to this, you gotta hit these goals today." No, nobody's gonna tell you that. So you just have to be like, you just really have to lock in and
You gotta lock in. Yeah.
yeah.
So do you have any tricks or tips for people who, like, obviously focusing is hard nowadays with smartphones, social media, there's a million
Mm.
distractions. Like, what do you set timers? Like, how do you motivate or like stay disciplined? Like, do you have any techniques that others could try?
How to lock in is what we want.
Yeah, how do you lock in?
Actually,
Piano music, sound counseling headphones. What else?
yeah, for sure. I was struggling with that a lot, actually. Because I was working from home for the longest time. Um, and I was not I was not going out at all. Um, Basically, I'll wake up and just sit at my desk all day long. Um, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Um, so eventually I got like a studio space, and that's much better, like having that work-life balance. Like, oh, when I show up to my studio, I'm locked in, like I'm ready to work. When I leave, I'm like disconnected from work.
Locked
Um,
out.
I'm locked out. So like, know how to lock in, but also know how to lock out.
Locked
Because
out.
I didn't know how to lock out in the past. I just went to bed, but I'll feel exhausted the next day because
Yeah.
I didn't disconnect from work. Now I know how to like connect and disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the takeaway from this. Lock in, but lock out.
Lock
If you,
out.
yeah, lock in.
Locking it out is also very, very tricky. Like,
So how do you now we got how do you lock out? Like, what do you do when you're locked out? Like, do you have any hobbies? Like,
yeah,
you're into
I
basketball?
yeah, I play a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
I play a lot of basketball. I mean, I got a social life.
Who's your
I play,
favorite basketball player right now in the NBA?
right now, Jalen Brunson for sure in the
I mean,
Knicks.
he just sent you guys home. Like, how,
Jalen
oh no,
Brunson,
sorry. What am I talking about? What am I talking? I'm sorry, I confused it.
Halliburton.
Never
Yeah,
mind. For some
yeah,
reason, I
that's
thought Hal-
yeah. He sent us home, but
not Halliburton. Yeah,
Jalen
Brunson. Yeah,
Brunson, yeah, he's my guy. Also
yeah.
this also SGA Shea from OKC
Canadian.
right
Yeah,
now.
there we go.
He's a beast. I really like him. I hope they send Indiana home a little bit, because they said you're the Knicks home. So, but we'll see. The finals is going.
Yeah, nice. Quickly, what if you got like a $20,000 grant, what would you do with it? Like, is there any product that you would try and do? Would you set up a studio space? What would you do if you got some capital injected?
I'll probably, if I have a grant, then I'll probably like start like make my own like little a short, like a little like 10-second, like 20-second like video like that, just totally like without a client, just like in a very artistic expression. So I could like take time off of client work and just like do my own thing. I think that's all graphic designer's dream. Like with no client notes, just like self-expression. That's it. Like I think at the end of the day, graphic designers all want to kind of like be artists, like fine artists.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Where can people find you?
They could find me on Instagram, chenu.c. Yeah,
Yeah. And what's your website? Sorry.
chenyuchen.com,
Okay.
CHANYUCHEN.com.
Perfect. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like I learned a lot, learned to lock in, learned to lock out. Yeah.
Time
So
to lock out.
yeah. It was awesome talking to you, but you really appreciate the time.
Dude, thank you for having me. I'm glad I did this.